Hello, everyone. This is Shirley Young, and welcome to Build a Wealth Strategy and Mindset Expert Talk Series, where we're going to talk about proven strategies to build wealth, pay off debt, and live more fully. I'm delighted to have today's guest here with us. She is full of energy and is passionate about helping her clients reach their full potential. I'd like to introduce Marie Dore. She is a business coach and mentor to women entrepreneurs and professionals worldwide. She teaches online business strategies to attract more clients and experience more freedom, fulfillment, and income. And she hosts an online community for women entrepreneurs. What I love about Marie is her message that it all starts on the inside with who we're being, not just what we're doing. Welcome, Marie, and thank you for being on this interview series with us.
Hi, Shirley, and I'm glad to be here. Thanks for inviting me.
Okay, great. First of all, could you tell us a little bit of what you do?
Yeah, just to add to what you said, I think that captured a lot of it, but I do work with women entrepreneurs and professional women as well who have their own business. And so I like to work on the business side, but a lot of it comes back to mindset. And, you know, as you just said, it all starts on the inside. And so I like to empower women to attract more wealth, and the way I work with them is often through business strategies or entrepreneurial or online strategies as well. So that's some of what I teach, how to grow a business online or how to attract income online, and just to make a bigger impact in the world. And the women I work with have a mission and a message, and I love to help them get that out to more people.
Oh, that's great. So when you work with your clients, do you have a wealth building system that you use? Could you talk more about that?
Yeah, well, and I guess it's the one I've used myself, and so that's what I teach, and I'll get into some more of the particular strategies as well. But overall, so I teach wealth building through entrepreneurship. So I have just a slightly different approach, and I like the idea of creating what I call multiple streams of income business as well. That's where I love helping women have really creative ideas for how they could bring in money and income. I know a lot of women in particular seem to limit themselves on how that money could come in. And so one thing I do is help them expand out their idea of where the money could come from and get really creative about it. And I help them have the multiple sources of income idea. So it's not just coming from one place. So if anything slows down in one area, then it can come from another area. And so that's part of the system or the strategy of, building a system to bring in income from various channels. Yeah. Okay,
great. When you're talking about channels, does it mean like online and physical, like channels?
Yeah, it could be. Thanks for clarifying. Yeah, because I help women, a lot of the times it's building an online business, and so it could be from a program that they deliver. I'm a business coach, so I work with some coaches, for instance. So they might create a program that they deliver. They're delivering a service, so the income comes that way. The other I'll call it a channel, would be a product. So you create an online product, and you sell it online, and the money could come in that way. And or it could also be I help women deliver workshops and seminars, things like that, and that would be an in-person way. So it's just a different way, and each one is a little bit different and unique. The way you create it, the way you market it. So that's what I'm saying. Different channels, different ways the money can come in. And it's sort of fun to do that. You know, it's a very creative way to build a business or build wealth.
That's great. Is there like 3 essential principles to building wealth?
Yeah, I thought this through about what the principles are. It's interesting when you ask about, the top 3. And so so I came up with 3. And the one I put first is one that I follow. I think is so important. A lot of people overlook. And that's to pay yourself first as a principle to building wealth. A lot of people will, pay the credit card, pay the debt, pay someone else they owe money, which they're very important to do, but they're paying themselves last instead of paying themselves first. So this is one principle to really follow, and it makes a huge difference if you pay yourself first. And you can keep more of what you make that way, and then that's how you start building up some wealth, some savings. And you can automate that as well. So even if it's a small amount, even if it's, $10 that you're starting off with, pay yourself, start building up an account where you're paying yourself first. And then pay, with what's left, pay everybody else. So that's one principle. Right. Another principle to building wealth is visualizing. I use visualization, and this is a little bit of we talked about mindset strategies. So visualize yourself being wealthy and living the life you want to live, attracting the money that you want to. Because what you can conceive of in your imagination, you can have. So imagine it and make your decisions and live as if that income is coming in. So picture yourself being wealthy, and do that consistently as well. It's not just one time, sort of visualizing what you'd like, or it's not just dreaming about it, but visualize the money you want to accumulate, and then just see yourself living that way and bringing in the wealth and the freedom that you want. So visualizing is another really big principle. And then a third one is working on your mindset. So there's some practical steps you can take. And then the other principle is that your mindset, I have a saying that your net worth equals your self-worth. So what you think and feel about yourself, your confidence and your ability and your internal power, when you tap into that equals the wealth, your net worth that you'll accumulate. So a lot of it is about that, I'll call it the internal work that you do, building confidence, building your ability even stronger, mastering your craft, let's say, and because how you feel about yourself equals your net worth, really. So those are the three principles that I'd say.
Do you have workshops for these, or can you do it yourself, a lot of these, like principles, like for example, the mindset part? A lot of people have difficulty with the mindset because it's not something we were trained to when we were in school or anything. And so is there tips of, have that mindset of building that confidence?
Yes, and you're absolutely right that we're not taught any of this, and so it is, there's books and seminars and a lot of people teaching this, but it can be very simple, and I think it's just bringing attention to it, awareness of what we're thinking at any time. Because our thoughts create our reality in a sense. So if we're looking at our checkbook and we have a bill in front of us and we say, I can't pay that bill today, I don't have the money, then that becomes your reality. And so it's even in the small details, like bringing attention to when you write a check, even just affirming, I have an abundant flow of money to cover this amount. And rather than going into the fear and lack, which is where most of us have been taught to live, in that lack mentality versus an abundant mentality. So it comes down to, I think, noticing your thoughts on a regular, like daily basis, but throughout your day as you're doing activities, and just notice if there's any thoughts that are limiting your thinking. Yeah. Okay,
that's great advice. And so, we asked about the top 3 essential principles. What are the habits of wealth building?
Yeah, yep. And I've got a few habits, and again, these are ones that I do myself, and I help my clients incorporate some of these as well. So the 3, my top one of the most important skill sets you can learn is decision making. A lot of people really procrastinate for a long time on making the decision. And so making the decision is usually the first step. You have a desire. Let's say you have a desire to build wealth. Make the decision that you're going to go for it, that this can be yours. So decision, and people don't realize it, but they really hesitate and procrastinate on making a firm, committed decision. But that's what it takes. And so to stop procrastinating, make that firm decision. And this is a great time of year to do that as well. That you're going to move towards wealth and abundance this year and make that decision. So decision making is a habit to make. Another one habit that I use is to see and feel the money that you want in your hands. So that it's one thing to think about it, intellectually, but it's another thing to feel it. It's almost feeling it emotionally, maybe even spiritually, that, the money that you want, and money is a symbol, it's a symbol of abundance and prosperity, but just imagine it as if you already had it. So you're bringing your future close by doing that. And again, this is mindset, but it's a habit. And maybe every morning when you wake up and, at night before you go to sleep, those are two great times to practice visualization, imagination. So just really see and feel the money flowing to you and then through you, even out to other people as well. Just picture that as if you already had it. So that's another great habit to have. And then the third wealth building habit I'll mention, and this is a more practical one, an action, a doable, is I said earlier about paying yourself first is a really essential principle. So the habit you can have is to set up some automatic systems to pay yourself first and build wealth. And I often recommend having at least 3 different types of accounts. These would be bank accounts. One would be for savings. So saving, and this would be saving intending to spend it. So let's say you want to go on a trip this year, and so you want to put aside, a certain amount of money every month. Maybe it's several $100s or something you're going to automatically put into a savings account, but you intend to spend that. So maybe you're going to travel. So that account would be savings for spending. Another account is more of your wealth building account, more of an investment. And that when you're not going to touch that one. That's for building longer term wealth. But again, you're automating. And even if you start small, it's building the habit. And we're talking about habits here, wealth building habits. Even if you start, you have the 3 accounts, and I'll mention the third one in a minute, but even $10 into each of them, or, maybe it's $20 or $25 into, it just gets your mind moving in that direction. And it's amazing the difference that can make. And it's like it'll make your money go farther by doing that. So the 3 accounts, the one is savings for spending. The other is a wealth building, and that's more of an investment long term. You're not going to spend that one now. And then the third one is a giving account. And this is another principle of money and building wealth is that it's fine to accumulate wealth, but we also need to give some back. We need to share what we have, share our gifts and talents, which include some of our abundance and wealth, with the intention that it's going to flow back into you. And I've seen this happen over and over. As you give, then more comes back to you. So I'd call it a giving account and put money into that with the intention of giving. And often that looks like, donating to your favorite causes and really standing behind them. But it's just amazing. You're opening up the money channels and you're acknowledging that you have more than enough and you have enough to give as well. So even if you feel you don't have that, it's an important habit to start to build.
Right. No, those are great tips, and some of, the automatic system is very practical. We don't have the different account and for the goals that we set for ourselves, right? I think it's very important to, all these habits are great suggestions to start building, and wealth will start coming once you have these great habits in place. So how do you transform a person's dream of wealth into reality?
That's another great question. And this question, when I saw this one, someone came to mind. He's an author from way back, and you might be familiar. Many people might be familiar with this one. It's Napoleon Hill, and the book is called Think and Grow Rich. It's a real classic book. It's been around for long time, but still the principles still apply. So when you said, the dream of turning wealth into reality, and he's got an exercise that I give to my clients, and I teach a class on financial freedom too, and this is part of it. And so I'll just give the highlights of it, but it's called six ways to turn your desires into gold. And really, there's just 6 steps to do, and this is how you can transform your dreams of wealth into reality. So I'll just go through them briefly just to give a highlight, and if anybody wants to find that, it's probably on the internet. It's called 6 Ways to Turn Your Desires into Gold. It's from Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. So the 6 steps, and this is how to he says it's the method by which your desire for riches can be transformed into its financial equivalent, which is money in our case. But so first you have to fix your mind on the exact amount of money you desire. It's not enough to say, I want lots of money, I want plenty of money. It's not even enough to say I want to be a millionaire, even though that sounds like a number. For a lot of people, that's a vague number because they're not connected with that as reality. And so you have to really connect with the amount you desire. And often there's a purpose for it, so being exact. And if it feels like it's way beyond the realm of possibility, I want to be a multimillionaire, and that's fine, but if it doesn't feel real for you, bring it back to what does. I want to, whatever that number is, but it has to be exact. and to start, it's often the amount, the first amount that's good to sort of lock in on is the amount that would cover your monthly expenses and a little bit more. So if, let's say your monthly expenses are $5,000, then that's the exact amount. And even to the penny, you're saying this is the exact amount I need and I desire. And then add, 10 to 20% because you want to go above that. And then build it up from there as you continue to work on this. You'd increase that amount. But then go to the amount. You could double that next time you go through this exercise. You want to bring that up. But often it's starting where we are. That's the part a lot of people miss and why they don't get to the financial abundance, because they're going almost too far with what they want, and it doesn't feel real. So you bring it back to where it's real, but an exact amount. And then you determine what you're going to give in exchange for that money that you want. So for anyone that's in a career or a job, you want to be giving your best service at that job in order to bring the money that you want, the exact amount. If you're in a business, same thing. Giving your best. If it's a service business, maybe there's a service you're delivering. I do this exercise sometimes, and right, this time of year when I'm launching a new program, I make it specifically that way. So I'm very specific what I'm going to give in return for the money I want to bring in. And then the third part is establishing a definite date when you intend to possess the money you desire. So the date being very specific. So, the exact amount, let's say it's $5,000, I will bring that in by, January 31st. And this is how I will do it. So you have to be really specific. And you're training your mind this way as well. We said a lot of it's about mindset. So a definite date. The fourth step is what he calls creating a definite plan. Now, on carrying out your desire and then starting on that plan. Now, it can be a very simple plan. I really like simple, so a very simple plan. But you have a plan, with some steps. I'm going to do this, this, and this. I'm going to do it by this date. And I've made the decision, and I'm committed to doing it. So you can hear sort of the exactness in that, because a lot of people are very, very vague, and that's why they don't get the money they desire. So a plan. The fifth step is a concise statement of the amount you intend to acquire. So again, that's the exact amount. And then the sixth step, and this is the really important one, is you read that written statement aloud twice a day. And he says just before you go to sleep at night, and also as soon as you get up in the morning. So again, you're training your mind. You're saying, here's the amount of money I want. I'm going to have it by this date. This is what I'm going to give in return. Here's my plan. Here are the steps I'm going to take. And you're reading that every day, twice a day, and more if you like. That more can bring it to you more quickly. But those are the 6 steps. And and you make a decision and go for it, and start to, and it's a way to just really build up, wealth and money and income, and it works. Yeah,
and it's simple. I think the key thing is very specific and concise, and those are the key words. When you went through that 6 ways, they're great tips and great ways to bring it into reality. Because you're repeating it, and I love it. It's great. And so, I don't know if this is a repeat of the question, but how can you build a good mindset when reaching for financial wealth?
Yeah, another great question, and we've been saying mindset throughout, and I think people might be getting that sense that mindset is so important. I think mindset is probably 90% of wealth building, and then the rest of it is the actions that you take, making the decision and the action. But I'll go back to one thing I said earlier. It's first make the decision that you want to be wealthy. A lot of people don't realize, but they haven't quite made the decision, and decision means you're really going to go for it. You're going to have this, you want it, and you're going for it. A lot of people stay really vague. They think they want it. Maybe I want it. It would be nice if I had it, and that's too vague. You have to be very specific. So it's a decision. And then take committed action. I've got every day, take committed action. And again, that goes back to if you have some automatic systems, that's doing the work for you. So it's not that you have to physically do things. If you've got automated systems, money going into your savings account, and then you are taking committed action. And also with mindset, not to let fear stop you. Fear will come up, fear and concern and worry. But learning how to make a decision and taking action and following through, that's the secret to success. And then the universe is always pointing the way to us of how to go. When we lock in on a desire and we really want it, the way will show up usually, but you need to stretch and grow to attract the abundance that you desire. So you need to work on yourself, grow a little bit. And then the other piece, and this relates to mindset, is don't try to do it all on your own. This is another mistake a lot of people make, or they'll read a book and think, well, I can do this myself, So reach out. You need some help and support, some good ideas as well, and usually from someone who's done it themselves or been there. It could be you're pulling your own support group together, or you're in a mastermind or a mentorship, or just something where you're getting help with some of this. There are anywhere from free and low cost ways to get help. There are a lot of good books, but you might want a little more than that, or even forming your own study group around a book and taking action together. But the mindset thing is not to try to do it all by yourself, because that's often hard to sustain that. But if you have other people that are doing something similar, building wealth together, it really increases your chances of success. So that's a mindset strategy too.
Yeah. Well, it's a good accountability partner too.
Yeah.
That they can say, hey, this is what we're supposed to do, or they can, follow through with what you said you were going to do. The last question I was going to ask you is, is there any motivational tips that you can share with someone that is currently in debt and can't really see the light at the end of the tunnel? And what are the steps that you can recommend or can suggest for them to work on to get themselves out of debt and then start building wealth and live more fully?
Great question. Really great. And I've been there myself. I've been an entrepreneur for 18 years, and there's been, hills and valleys and ups and downs. And several years ago, the economy took a big dip, and so I've been there with the debt that felt like I couldn't come through it with my business because I'm self-employed. And how you get out of that. So anyone that does have debt, I'd say also going back to my point about making a decision, that's what I did, that I was going to get out of debt. And I've done that, so I have no debt. and again, for me, it was a mindset shift. I stopped believing in debt, stopped accumulating debt, but that took a long time to get there. But the starting place, when you do have, because I had, a number of credit cards, let's say, and I sort of lined them up. And my idea that I said earlier about automatic payments, I was, making payments to each one to pay them down. And if you have debt, also see if you can consolidate the debt. That often makes it easier, rather than having, if you have several credit cards, if you can consolidate them to one, it just it feels sort of lighter and easier if you have one bill to pay rather than five, And so any debts, and see if you can work on consolidating, make one payment. But if you can't consolidate, take the smallest one and work towards getting that one paid off. Just so that you have less, and like working your way out of debt. But also, even if you have debt, you can still save. That was one thing I did as well. So I was paying down debt, but I was also accumulating some savings, which seems a little counterintuitive, but it does something to your mind when you're building wealth, you're accumulating savings, and you're also focused on paying down debt. So you're doing both at the same time, and then it just starts to shift your whole money story, that shift. Yeah. And that's what happened for me. It was gradual. It happened over several years, but really to move away from debt and really tackle that and handle it, and then start, reducing the debt, building up the savings. And it starts with, the decision and the plan to do that.
Right. Oh, that it's so great. And you know, and you're a personal testimonial that you can actually do that. That it's not the end if you're in debt, and that it doesn't mean that wealth will not come to you. It's just it's a delayed process, right?
Yes.
That,
Yeah.
get out of it, and then eventually it will come. You know, most people, and I see this a lot, in that they pay their debt and they never pay themselves, and they keep paying debt. You know, people who keep paying debt will never get out of debt because it's just, and I don't want to say it's a mindset, but it's just the way they look at money. And if they can't get out of debt, they will never get out of debt. But if you start paying yourself first and then pay little, like you said, whether it's $10 or $20 of saving, you're paying a little bit to yourself, and then eventually, you know, they will get more. It's just the habit you're building of getting out of debt because you're making a decision of doing that, right?
Yes.
And I think that's really great that you shared your story with us. And that's amazing. And you're doing very well. You're out of debt, and you're living proof of it, that you can do it, and people can start that journey. It's just whether or not they make that decision, right?
That's right. Yeah.
So I want to thank you so much, Jean-Marie. You provided us tons of valuable information. I know you have a gift that you have for our audience. Can you tell us a little bit about it?
Sure. Yes. Yeah. So people can find me. My website is my name. So it's janmariedore.com. So that's Jan Marie Marie and Dore Dore.com. So that's my website, and there's I write a blog and give tips and have a free offer, download whatever. But my gift is to help you build wealth and help you set some bold money goals and live the lifestyle you really want. So it's all around what we've talked about today and building wealth. And you can find that at my website. So it's www.janmariedore.com /wealth. So janmariedore.com/wealth, WEALTH, and that's where you'll find my free gift for everyone that's listening.
Oh, that's awesome. I will have that information on our site, where they can contact you, as well as your free gift. And again, thank you for being on this series with us. I love all the tips and advice you provided us here. And I want to thank everyone for joining us in this talk, and I wish everyone a fantastic day. Thank you.
Thanks, Shirley. Bye, everyone.